yours.
Okay, go ahead. Who do you want?
I thought Chuck would introduce himself.
I'm Chuck Bryant from the Chuck Bryant Show, live in and from 6 until 8 every morning on WOTG Radio and Branson Gospel Radio, and also on WGHC TV.
Yes, and we are excited to be here with you, Chuck. Tonight, we've got some very special people that are here. We're going to be talking about a beautiful song. We have the person that sings the song in here. We have a songwriter and we have the co-writer. And we're going to be talking about the ministry of Deborah Schultz. And we're also going to be talking to both of the guys that wrote the song, Mr. Corey Lee. And also, we're going to be talking to Frank Howell. And it's going to be a great night. Deb, if you don't mind, will you just tell everybody a little bit about how long you've been singing, who you are? I know that you do have a singing ministry, but you also have some other callings that you are walking in right now. So just tell a little bit about Deborah Schultz Ministries for everybody.
Deborah Schultz Ministries. I have been singing since, of course, like every singer, it goes back to the cradle, right? But I love singing. It's just
Uh-huh.
something that I know that's what I've been here to do. But I enjoy it. And my husband and I pastored. He was a wonderful man of God. And he got very ill. And I laid my music down now it's been about 18 years ago. And to help co-pastor and do, be his helpmate, and just do what God wants us to do together. And so here he passed away 6 years ago, and here I am. And I'm like, oh my goodness. And the Lord said, Deb, age has nothing to do with it. And I thought,
Right.
oh, I feel like that Susan Boyle, you know who I'm talking
Yes.
about? Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Or the comeback kid. I think that's what they
Right.
call it, the comeback kid. But I love I love writing. I love ministering. I am a minister. I have a television program called Come Share the Joy. And you can see that right here on WOTG Branson Gospel Television. But I have just love fulfilling my dreams. I feel like Esther for such a time as this. It, Vonda, it's my time.
That's right.
And I feel that. And
I
I'm
remember the
excited.
first time I met you, you were singing in Williamstown, Kentucky.
Mhm.
I knew who you were, but I really got to talk to you. You were at the Ark Encounter,
Uh-huh.
and you told me the story about your husband. And when you were standing there telling me, you had big old tears in your eyes, and you said, I really want to do what God has for me to do. I'm
Mhm.
not sure if He's done with me yet or not, but if He's not, I want to take it and run with it because that's
Yes.
what my husband would want me to do.
Mhm.
And so, a lot of people have said, she was singing a lot and then she just disappeared. Well, that's why you disappeared because
Disappear.
you were being a wife and a
Yeah.
helpmate to your husband. And so along comes several different radio singles that you sent to radio. You've had different songs that have been on different charts. Your music, I love your voice, and you
Thank you.
were in a ladies conference that Singing
Mhm.
News put on not long ago with
That was an
Karen.
honor. Thank
Yeah,
you.
it
Yes.
was great. We had Karen Peck, and we had Deborah Talley, and we had Miss Deborah Schultz.
And
And I was, go ahead.
Emily Roberts. You
And
forgot her?
Emily Ann,
Yes.
that's right, Emily Ann. And I was
Mhm.
sitting back there and I was listening to you that day when you got up there and you shared your testimony. And the way the people there reacted to what you had been through was amazing. And I was like, man, she is really called for more than just singing. She
Yeah.
truly has a testimony that will help other ladies. And now, where did you meet Mr. Corey Lee?
I did not meet Corey. He shot me an email one day. No, it was a message on Facebook. May I pitch you a few songs? And I'm like, sure. Well, then I thought, that may be a scammer. You know how you're all so
Let's
careful.
go look up Corey Lee Baker.
Yeah, let's go look him up. But then he sent me these songs, and the first song was "He's My Healer," and I'm like, "Oh my Lord, I love this song." I knew it was for me, Corey. I knew that was my song. You and Frank penned my song, my heart. But it's about healing, and it's on an upbeat, and it feels good. And I'm gonna go ahead and say this. I told him when he sent it, I said, that reminds me of a song that Lionel Richie did back years ago. Easy like Sunday morning. And he said
Yes.
that's what we were going for without going copyright infringement. So I love Lionel Richie and I love this song and it's fun. It's
Yes.
a lot of healing songs are kind of sad and slow. Not this one. Not this one.
That's
I
right.
love it. I've
Hey,
been told by one DJ that it's a beachy song, and I'm like, well, okay, let's go to the beach.
let's go to the beach. That's right. Hey,
You know,
can we?
the one thing with some of Deb's songs, I've got several of them, and she's been with me for several years now,
Mhm.
but she reminds me of a category that gospel music does not have. And with me being from New Orleans, I said it right there for you, but being from New Orleans, she's got that jazz sound. And she reminds me so much of Queen Latifah trying to change
Woo!
from
Get out of
being
here.
from being from who she was in Chicago,
Oh,
and Deb has that, and she's got it.
Mhm.
Like with her song that she's got out to radio right now, When Faith Met Grace. I mean, it's just each song that she does is a different. You could actually create 3 or 4 different genres just for her. And
Yes.
I'm serious.
She
I'm
could
not in a
sing.
box. How's that? I'm not in
I
a box.
think that means she could be a crossover artist. She could actually fit 2 different categories,
Mhm.
and that's awesome. Can I put you on the spot, Dave?
Yeah.
Just can you sing just a little bit of the chorus
If he's
of
my
"He's
healer.
My Healer"?
Okay. He's my healer. Jesus is my healer. He's my healer. Jesus is my healer. Oh, and that's so much fun,
I
guys.
know, and I just want people to hear you just a little bit.
Thank you.
There's not a lot of people that we could be interviewing or talking to about their song that we could say, "Hey, will you just sing us a little bit of that?" They would just freak out, but not Deb because she sings it
Not me. Not
right
me.
here from her heart. It comes from her heart, and I love
Bless
that.
you. Thank you, Vonda. You're so
So,
precious.
so Corey sent you a message, and then Corey, I want to talk to you for a minute. When
Yes.
you reached out to her and she told you this song is for me, what did you think? Okay, hope it is.
Well, the first thing I do is send Frank a message and celebrate because we
We
found
got
somebody
somebody
that
to yeah.
didn't
It
think
was me. It was for me.
we were so glad to hear from her. And then when we got to actually hear the cut, of course, we were double glad. So we're just grateful that when a good message finds a good artist with a good heart and it all comes together, it's just there's no
That's
greater
right.
feeling for a songwriter.
That's right. Now, you and Frank, have y'all written several songs together
We have.
through the years?
Mhm.
So tell me what went into He's My Healer. How did it come about? Did y'all just say, we're going to sit down and write a song about healing, or what happened?
Do you remember, Frank, how that one started?
Well, we always come up with an idea first,
Mm-hmm.
and anytime I write with Corey, I try to come up with an idea, maybe a few lines, but sometimes we get an idea off of that idea, and we go with that.
Mm-hmm.
And but this one, it just seemed like I don't really remember how we actually got it started, but once we started it, it was like, whoa, we got something here.
Yeah, this is going to be
And
good.
working with Corey is just amazing. The guy is so talented; it's unreal. And
Yes,
I
it
and I
is.
am very blessed that he allows me to write with him.
It's
So,
awesome.
Now,
but yeah, it was just one of those songs.
right. Now, you live in Joplin, Missouri. Is that correct?
I do.
Okay. And then Corey, you're looking at me like, how do you know that?
She
and,
snoops too, guys.
There's no
and
secrets
I
anymore with the
snoop
internet.
too. And Corey Lee lives in Nashville.
Correct.
So, how did you two meet?
Do we
Amy
need to,
McAllister.
okay.
I know Amy, another
Absolutely.
artist
Uh-huh.
that works with the two of you.
Yeah, she contacted me one day and got it set up for me to write with Corey, and it just took off from there.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah, she's a sweetheart.
Yes, she is. And I had never really sat and talked to you, Corey, but I had heard your name over and over and over in the Christian country realm of music and gospel music, both, and country music.
Yes.
You know, people would come up to me and say, "Do you know Corey Lee Baker?" And I would be like, "Well, I've heard the name, I've met him. I've never personally sat down and talked to him, but I had seen you at, I guess it was the ICMA Awards in
Yes.
Nashville up there, and you were working and I was working. We didn't even get to talk, but it's like I've heard for I don't know how many years all those things that he's just said about you, that you were the real deal." And so it is very nice to meet you finally, and just feel like that if I see you now, I can go, "Hey, Corey," because before I knew who you were, it was more like before I would go, "There's Corey Lee Baker."
Well, I gave all those people $5 to say nice things about me. And so
Aw.
way, that's where it came from.
Well, they did. They really did. And I think the first person that ever mentioned your name to me was Steve Bridgman. And
Oh, yeah.
he said, asked me if I knew you. And I said, no, but I know who he is. And he was telling me all the many different things that you did and everything, and which I think is very cool. Now, God has allowed you to do some things with Hallmark. Is it okay to talk about that?
Sure, sure.
Okay, well, tell everybody what you did during Christmas.
Well, this past year, usually I write about 100 and something Christmas songs.
Isn't that amazing?
For that market, in addition to the other things that I do. And this past year was my best ever. I think I got to be part of 14 movies, and 8 of them were Christmas movies.
Wow.
So it just really does my heart good to be able to put, songs about the joy, even if it's just about the love of Christmas.
Yes.
It stems from a great message, because we wouldn't have Christmas without Christ.
That's right.
Even if they don't let me put that in the forefront of the songs, it's just great to be able to be part of these people's Christmas.
Well, if you ever need anybody to sing one of those Christmas songs for your
Then we
home.
know somebody. Don't we?
I've got hundreds I can send you at a moment.
Well, I'm going to need you to write those Hallmark movies down for me sometimes and send them to me so I can.
That's awesome.
listen to
I
the
think
new-
now, did Corey write this one?
Yeah, I'll be like wondering if that's the one you wrote or not. And now,
Let me
Frank,
say something right here, Vonda. Corey,
absolutely.
when he reached out to me, I said, how do you know me? And he said, well, I watch the radio charts. So that goes to you, my friend.
Mhm.
Vonda does her job. Like I said, back in the late 80s, I had, I charted with singing news with 2 different songs, and things were looking really good. And then I had to lay it down. So I'm back, and I've got somebody to hook up with. And I fell in love with you at the Ark when we first talked. And I thought, that lady's real. So,
I felt like
real
I
people know
know.
real people, right?
Yeah, you do. Our spirit bears witness with each other, and because we know what we're both all about. And now, when people ask me to send a song for them, or to call and make calls on their songs or stuff, I like to work with people like that. I know their heart, and I'm not a record label. I just independently, help artists that I believe have talent. And I think rather than being a radio promoter, I've always called myself a cheerleader.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard for you to call the radio station and say, "Hey, my name's Deborah Schultz and I'm good. I got a great song." And
That's one thing about being a soloist. If you're a group, you can call and say, I got a group, and this piano player does this, and my tenor's this and this. It's me.
That's right.
And I can't sell me. You know what I mean? And there's no price on my head.
No.
And I just simply tell people, I don't have contracts and all that. I'm just doing what God has called me to do, and
the
enjoying
things-
every minute.
Right. And the things I tell them are things like that: what you're about, what you sing about, why you took off for so many years, where your songs were before. And I love to see somebody that nobody really knows do well. And I don't know how many artists that I have promoted over the years that are now signed with a record label, and
No.
they don't need me anymore. But you know what? I'm proud of them. And I
Well,
love
sure you are.
Yeah, I love that I got to be just a little bitty part in that. And if it were not people like WOTG Radio and Chuck Bryant, who would listen when I call and say, "Hey, Chuck, I got a good song. And you may not know this girl, but when you play it, you're going to love her style." And I try to work with people that it's going to be easy for me to call and talk about. And Deborah is one of those people. She's the real deal. She is a great singer. She has no fear. If you tell her you want her to hit a note at the end and put a little Whitney Houston on it. She knows what that is. She's already mentioned Lionel Richie. She knows him
Love
too.
him. I love
But
soul. I love rock. I love jazz. I
right,
like it all.
she loves music and she
Country.
loves Jesus. Right, and
Oh,
so
I was
that
singing country. My brother was a country artist,
was
and the guys who backed him owned a dealership. So every Saturday morning, they got together and they, practiced and sang, and people came from everywhere just to the dealership, and he entertained them. He was an entertainer. Don't know where I got mine from, but anyway, he would take me over, and I was 13 years old, and I would sing. My DIVORC, and I'd sing those songs, and everybody'd say, "Man, you need to get her." And so my daddy would get me if I took her in a bar room,
uh-huh. Hey,
You know,
listen,
the
that's why
the
go
one
ahead.
thing I can say is that she was country when
Queen
country wasn't cool.
That's
Mhm.
Because you got to bring Barbara, you got to bring Barbara Mandrell into this, because she was the country one when country wasn't cool.
yeah,
Deb is the one that can fit any genre of music.
That's right.
And let
thank
me
you.
tell you something. I've been doing this for 10 years. I met Vonda, gosh, it's been almost 8 or 9 years since we've met.
Yeah,
And
it's been a long
I
time.
remember when she was working in radio at a little station in Alabama. And you get to know, when you hear a song, you know that it's going to go.
Hmm.
And this song that y'all are talking about, it's going to go far.
It's a good one.
Thank you.
And
It's going to
I
touch a
think
lot
it
of
is.
folks.
But can I preach just a minute?
No.
It's just built. It's in me. No, you are the writers. I'm delivering it. Vonda's pushing it, and you're spinning it. I mean,
I'm the
that's the body
cheerleader.
of Christ. That's
Uh-huh.
the body of Christ, and that's how He intends us to do. And when you know your post, you do it with your whole heart,
Right.
and that's why we become a body.
That's
That's
right.
like, because normally I would just sing my music. I sing most of the songs I write because I write a lot. And when I heard that, I'm like, my Lord, that's my song.
Uh-huh.
I
It's
never mind.
perfect. It's perfect for you. And
He's
especially
my
it kind of fits what you've been through.
He's my
And
yes. He healed my broken heart,
he
because I
did.
can remember laying in bed, and I was in this big king size bed all by myself, and I was just crying, and had my heart broke, and I laid there and I thought, Lord, I don't like being alone. And I remembered in His Word that He said He would be my husband.
I was about to say that.
And I
Yeah, I
looked up
remember
and I
that.
said, "Big boy, you got a big job, but I'm yours, and I will give it everything that I have,
Mhm.
every being in me, to do what He's called me to do." And that's who I am and what I do. I
Uh-huh.
just love it.
I remember you calling me and saying, I've got it figured out
Yeah,
now because he
yeah.
said in his word that he would be my husband. So I
Mhm.
don't have to be worried about that. I'm just going to move on. And
I'm
that's a beautiful story. I know why we connect so much because my daddy was a country music uh,
mhm.
guy too. And my favorite singer was Merle Haggard. So
Merle.
yeah, Merle was my
Mhm,
favorite. And we had a little shop. It was a little music hall called the Saturday Night Opry in
mhm,
Heflin, Alabama. And my dad would book like Marty Rabin, which every time I see Marty, he'll say, I loved your daddy. He took care of us when we didn't have a place to go sing. But Marty Rabin, he had Marty Stewart, he had Ricky Skaggs. I mean, a
mhm.
lot of people before anybody
Oh
ever
yeah,
knew who they were, they
I've
would
met
come
too.
through
Yeah,
and sing. And that's just, I grew up on that kind of music. So I'm with you at
my
100%.
mother's oldest brother had a bluegrass radio station program for 54 years, the Friendly Neighbor Show, and every Saturday morning. I love me a little bit of bluegrass. Not, I can't handle a whole lot because it takes me back. It woke me up every Saturday morning. The bluegrass, singers singing, but Earl Flatt and all those used to come over there. But he was a
That would
fine
be
film.
Lester Flat, and the
Lester
Earl
and
was
Burl
Scruggs.
Scruggs. Yeah, I knew I'd get it right.
Get your
But
bluegrass
they'd
right,
come in.
Deborah.
Yeah, I'm not good with that. Well, I like everything, but bluegrass just takes me a little bit.
Yeah, yeah.
Takes me a little.
Well, I do too, and I love all styles of music, and I bet those guys right there both love different styles of music too, especially being in Nashville.
Oh yeah.
You can't not love country, and I love the faith country that's just started with Singing News, that one chart, which is nothing but Christian country. It's just whatever you call it, but it's basically a country song with inspirational lyrics,
Yeah.
lyrics that talk about, Christ, or talk about, inspirational things,
Right.
which is all it is, whatever you want to call it, but that's what it is. And I love getting to meet some of those artists as well, because it does take me back to my roots. And
Sure.
it has been just a joy getting to do this tonight and getting to meet
It's fun.
all of you. And now, Frank, I was going to talk to him just a minute ago. Frank lives in Joplin, Missouri, and he is, I looked on his Facebook page. We like to snoop, and we already discussed that. But I looked on there, and Frank had that he was an actor, and he actually was in a show, not Hee Haw, but it was kind of like Hee Haw. What was the name of it, Frank?
Kelly's Country Junction.
Kelly's Country Junction. So
It's funny too.
Country
maybe we
with a
have
K.
maybe we have some listeners that know about that or have heard about Kelly's Country Junction. Was that in Branson?
No, actually, it was just outside of Joplin. The studio was in a little place called Diamond, Missouri, which
Okay.
it's not, it's more of a farm community type thing.
Mhm.
And
Right.
the producer had a studio back behind her house, and that's where we did it all. But we also traveled to Nashville and did some shots there, and did some live performances and stuff. But it was mainly for TV.
Right. Now, are you a singer?
I sing in church, but and I sang on the TV show. I sang backup, but I don't do any solo stuff or nothing like that because I know my limitations.
Oh, do you?
I hooked you up with a real good promoter, radio promoter.
Yeah. Now, what about you, Corey Lee? Are
You
you
know,
a
if,
singer?
if it calls for a raspy bluesy thing, I can pull it
Wait,
off.
we gotta do one together.
But I'm kind of
And
like
he's good.
I'm kind of like Chris Stapleton if he was intoxicated and had less talent. I get something near the note.
Okay, I can figure that out. I kind of know what that would be. That's hilarious.
Not quite polished enough, but I get somewhere near the note.
Yeah.
And
I
I sit here and I look at the screen and I see you people who are very professional. I'm humbled. I'm humbled.
Well,
What's God got in store tomorrow? I have no clue, but I'm ready. So I desire everybody that's listening, I desire your prayers.
Well, Deborah,
God
you know,
will open doors for her.
you talked about, you had put your career on pause and all that.
Mhm.
But when God puts a calling on your life, He never takes it off.
And it wasn't time.
And so you picked it back up and went with it, and I see a lot of doors opening up for you.
Thank you, sir.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Thank you.
It's right here. It's right here. This room is what you're talking about, Frank. My whole entire ministry shut down on the 19th day of October of 2019. My wife almost died. She had sepsis.
Ooh.
And you can ask Vonda. I was everywhere. I was going. Deb, you didn't know me back then. I was everywhere. I was in Kentucky. I was in Ohio. I was in Louisiana. I was in Branson. I was also in Oklahoma. I lived down in Florida. We moved up here to where I could be closer to this environment. I went to NQC. It's the first time I got to see Vonda was in 2019 at NQC. And this whole entire atmosphere was just opening up to me. And then Donna got sick. And then I broke my shoulder at work. So everything for the last 4 years has been here. And so I created a studio that looked just like a radio station to where I could do what I have to do.
Of your heart. But watch what God's going to do, Chuck.
Oh,
Watch.
he's
And I tell people, follow your dreams. Whatever your dream is, follow it. You're never too old. Never.
That's right.
Because, the word says that we were called from our mother's womb. to do this. I was a twin, and they told my mother when we were born, my dad, I weighed 3.5 pounds, believe that or not. And they had to carry me around on a pillow. I was so tiny. And they said the little girl will not live. The little boy, you know, he's stronger. He'll live. She won't live. But God had a purpose.
That's right.
And my brother passed away at 3 days old. So here I am because God had a purpose.
Well, remember this.
Corey, I want to put a bug in your ear, but God. I think I told you that, didn't I?
Yeah.
That's a thought
June
for a new song. So keep that in your mind. Maybe we'll get together and do that.
30th, 1967.
Mhm.
I wasn't supposed to be born. I was considered back in the 60s what they considered a blue baby. And I wasn't supposed to be here. I was supposed to have been born. They were going to have to give me a blood transfusion. But I had a praying grandmother and I had a praying grandfather right up here at the church that's in Ringgold, Georgia. It's called Ebenezer Baptist Church. It's right across from Truck City for you ones that's been up and down I-75. 1967, my grandfather spent almost 3 hours on his hands and knees before I was born. And my grandmother told me that. And, you know, it's great what God can do. God has built so many walls around us and protected us as we've gone through. And is there anything else that y'all want to talk about?
I want to know what year that was you said you were born in.
1967.
Okay, and what day of the month?
June the 30th.
Which is my birthday.
That
You're
is
kidding.
no.
You guys have the same birthday.
And I thought you were older than me.
What year were you born? Oh, I'm not supposed to ask.
We don't ask
66.
questions like that, Chuck, okay? It's
I
just
don't care.
56.
age is just a number. I have been told that so many times.
But
I
you're
don't
still
care
you're
the year.
still 39 and holding, and the bands are holding.
That's right.
Oh, I used to could say that, but I can't even say that anymore because I don't feel it.
Let me tell you something. Arthritis. Mr. Arthur knows me so well because when I was outside a while ago, this titanium shoulder, I don't care what anybody tells you, you know, down in the knees and in the hips, you know, y'all, when you've got it so close up here, when it gets cold, it's cold.
Mm-hmm.
Corey, you got anything you want to add to the show before we leave?
Yeah, I just wanted to say on behalf of songwriters like Frank and myself that we're going back to what Deborah said. We're very thankful for the whole body of how everything works because we can deliver a message we think we've been given, but we can only get it so far without a singer there to do it justice, without a promoter there to get it out there,
Yes.
without radio to say, hey, we embrace this.
Yes.
So there's no such thing as any songwriter doing something great by themselves or winning an award because of only something they did. And sometimes people may look at the Facebook page and say, oh, there's great stuff going on. Well, it's not just us.
Right.
There's a whole big team out there of everybody doing their part. And we're very grateful for all those pieces.
I think people forget that. I think people forget when they get to a certain level, they forget all this.
Right.
I never want to forget.
Tommy Lee said in the movie Under Siege, one of Steven Seagal's movie, a revolution, it's something that keeps moving on and keeps moving on. Gospel music starts with a writer. It starts with a musician and putting that music together.
Mm-hmm.
It comes together with a songwriter. And if you don't take it any further than that, well, you need a person like Vonda that is. And I told Deb that she should get with you because I knew the talent of people. I've got friends that works under your label. Greg is one of them, and a bunch of other people that have worked under Vonda that has really has blossomed out to be where they're at and still have people there. The radio, there's tons of us. And we put that music out there. And it's like today, somebody was asking me, I work at a traditional country station. Sometimes I bury me in Georgia. You get the point. Well, I'd like to bury him in Georgia because I'm on Route 50. And the song that he's talking about is up here in Varnell, Route 52, or Route 2 is up here right at Ringo. But the thing of it is we've got a great product, guys, and Deb, we'd like to thank you for being a part of this tonight.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank
I
you
want
so
to thank
much.
you so
Mhm.
much
Thank you.
because this is the first time that Vonda and I have actually done a venue together because we've been talking about it for years. And Corey, get in touch with me, and Frank, get in touch with me where we can stay in touch. I've got people outside of Branson I could probably hook y'all up with, and I got people in Nashville. Do y'all know Marty Smith from Heaven's Country?
Yeah.
Marty's a really good friend of mine.
Great.
Well, guys, we're going to hold on just 1 minute. Hey, you've been listening to the Chuck Bryant Show on the interview side, and we've had some very great guests in here tonight. And come share the joy with Deb, and from Hey Y'all Media, and what's that other company you work for?
Hey,
Singing
Chuck.
notes.
There, Saying News, and then you got Corey, the songwriter, or ever how y'all put y'all's mix together. We thank
Hey,
y'all so
Chuck.
much for being,
I hate to interrupt, but we have like a chat going on. Did you know that?
No.
There's a chat in here, and there is a gentleman by the name of Mike Wellman Ministries. Wellman, Mike Wellman. And Mike says, "Good evening, y'all. Y'all can write me a Christian country outlaw song and pitch it to me."
There
So
you go.
y'all need to reach out to him.
We'll
Mike
get in
Wellman.
touch with Brother Mike as soon as I get up here. Let me go ahead and kill this. Hey guys, thank y'all for being a part of this tonight. We got people that's got appointments. Each one of y'all stay on for the chat for just a minute. God bless y'all. We'll see y'all again next time on the Chuck Bryant Show Unplugged, where
Bye.
we ask
Thank